Nigeria's economy is undergoing sweeping reforms under President Bola Tinubu, drawing mixed reactions at home, but also a rare recognition from the international community. Now, with fuel subsidies removed and the foreign exchange regime liberalized, the World Trade Organization has praised Nigeria's policy direction as a model for growth. Now, the question is how these reforms impact businesses, young people, and the nation's long-term prospects. Well, to help us unpack this, we are joined by Adedayo Micheal, a business development manager for Nigeria and Ghana at the AHZ, a global education and career mobility firm. Now, he's also a political commentator and youth advocate. He's committed to inclusive development and empowering Nigeria's next generation of leaders. Welcome to Newsday, Micheal. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we hear that President Tinubu has gotten commendation for his economic reforms. What's your initial assessment of our president's economic reforms?
Yeah, thank you for having me once again. I mean, so the World Trade Organization chairman I mentioned, we are on a path to growth. The decision that has been taken is giving us an opportunity for growth in Nigeria. If you ask for my assessments, those decisions that have been taken already about our economic situation, basically the two reforms, which has to do with our subsidies and the floating of Naira to growth at its own pace, is a bedrock, is a benchmark for a growth. So I think we are in a path towards a good direction, depending on the discipline and the political will of the people in power and of the Nigerians themselves, that determines what kind of futures we will have. But it is beginning to look to the world that we know we are serious about taking our economy to another level. And, like I said, the political will of the leadership and the ability to be able to stay further is what will determine what we are able to achieve from it.
One of the major things she said, that's the Director General of the WTO, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, is that President Tinubu's reforms are moving the economy in the right direction and that now the economy is stabilizing. But she also posts that clause of the fact that Nigerians are still going through hardship. It's not being felt in the pocket of Nigerians. How do we reconcile that stabilization that the economy is feeling or experiencing with the experience of the average Nigerian who is not still able to afford food and commodities?
Thank you. Very interesting conversation. The decisions that have been taken are very, very important for our growth economically in Nigeria. That's decisions around our subsidy and the floating of Naira. And that is the major reasons why we are in the economic situation for the common Nigeria, like we have said. But this is like a surgery. It's a process of setting a bedrock. If we continue to do the subsidy regime, or we begin to use our resources that are supposed to go into our health, education, and all that, are continue to use to stabilize dollar, so that we buy things at the assumed rates that the government set it at, we'll be giving the world, our economy will continue to suffer. But now we have a benchmark that the Naira is being float. We have removed subsidy. Our economy is beginning stability. When you hear the word stability, it's not referring to, it has not dropped down to the common man, like maybe in our food, the prices of things we buy on the street and all that. What it means by stability is that Nigeria is now in a position where you can be confident of putting your investments into the country, because you can see that our currency is stable. And our economy, we have an economic stability, and it is a place that you can engage. And then once you have that kind of stability, you can build growth. As you grow, that is when you now begin to feel the impact on the generality of people, because there'll be more job being created, which should now, which now sink down. So that's why Nigerians need to, if we want to move into food, into having food, having more money in our pockets, we have to engage the economy ourselves. By engaging farming, by picking up new skills, by, committing into the economic activities. We need thinkers in Nigeria at the moment. We can't turn away from the entertainment phase and begin to tackle the real issues. Move away from the regular, the entertaining space that we all love to going to the farm, engaging our economy and begin to become, so that we become a country that produce, such that our economy will continue to be stronger and stronger and stronger. I think that is why that's why if you have heard during that conversation, she said, when you were going to, she said that it's a bedrock. It's just that they've laid the table. We need to build. We will now determine what kind of building we want to set on those buildings. This is decision that is both from the government. That is why I said in my introduction that the political will if the political will is there to continue to build and give the enabling environment, we have to strengthen our road, strengthen our security, so that people have confidence into going. We have to ensure equity and law, so people can trust the system to say, oh, I want to put my resources, I want to invest. Is my investment safe? That is what we now determine where we are going. So, but in as much as we still, that does not mean that the fact that food prices and the inflation generally is still like a reaction to everything to all those two major policies. So that is my thought on that, actually.
Now, the government stated that the funds that were saved from subsidy removal would be redirected to critical sectors like infrastructure, healthcare, just as you said, and education. What's your view on the transparency or effectiveness of the redirection of the funds so far?
Okay. So these are another very interesting conversations, As you know, the subsidy regime, we were taking loans to feed the subsidy up, to fill the gaps of the subsidy. So what the current government have done, as you have seen, the current government has improved our reserve, tried to clear off debts that we have, like the IMF debt and all that. And this is sending signals to the international community that, oh, we are serious countries that are ready to do business with the world. So, but the greatest concern with Nigerian political space up to today is still transparency and communication. It is the fact that you cannot trust the system. I think the government does not trust the people don't trust the government. So we are in a situation where we don't really, we don't know we look at the frivolity of our government. You hear conversations about political salary wants to be increased, stuff like that. Is breaking the trust between the people and the governed and the people governing. So what I would advise the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to do is to continue to communicate more instead of running political banters. When you see their spokesperson speak online, they are replying to other political people that are commenting against their government. But I think they should continue to focus more on enlightening Nigerians on what they are doing, steps they are taking, what step they are trying to take us to the next situation. But if you look at our economic situation and the reform of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from an holistic view and a non-sentimental perspective, you will see that they have set pace that can take us to growth. But that growth still dependent on our own will as a people and the people that are governing us. Transparency is still a thing of concerns in Nigeria. We honestly do not trust our budgeting system. We don't trust the figures. We feel like there's still mistrust between the government. Politicians are still maybe corrupt. There's still worries of corruption. So my advice to the government is to, cap down corruption, not just by capping that, showing the people that this is the will that they are really tackling corruption. Then we'll all be able to trust in the system. We'll be able to trust and be able to commit into the system that the government is doing something. But to answer the question of whether they have taken a step towards a good direction, the answer still sticks yes. If you ask from all the global organizations I've mentioned, it has shown in our stock exchange market, it has shown in our forests and all that. The policies Nigeria's economy is going towards a space of stability. But transparency is still a big issue in our country. Within the people, within the government, and even in every sectors of our country.
Indeed. Let's still, talk about some of the proffered solution by the DG of the WTO, Okonjo-Iweala. She says that, that there is an urgent need to strengthen social safety nets to cushion the impact of these President Tinubu's reforms, particularly for the poor and vulnerable. What do you think could be these safety nets, the social safety nets?
Thank you. So that is like I said, what those safety nets means is because of the effect of those two transformative decisions, which are inexpedient for us to grow in Nigeria. It sent millions of Nigerians into poverty and into a struggling state. What she's saying there is that they should provide social support to these people. The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually provided. I'm not a member of APC, but I speak to the information that I know. They've made efforts, not cash distribution that they have done. What she's suggesting is that they should create an enabling way for people to survive, maybe support the people based during the period during this period of hardship until we get to a place of solvency. What the government is now advising is that if you remember, sometimes ago the president's wife was showing that people should start growing farms, growing food from their own backyard, engaging in different activities. Maybe they are different. Some states takes up some kind of social activities, or maybe deduction on transportation. They are giving out cash. I'm sure you have seen the news where they said they were issue cash to certain people. Those are the policies they are taking to even kind of caution. But that is not enough. I think I commend policy like that of the Minister of Communication and Innovation, where they are training millions of Nigerians to have technical skills in be able to be part of the tech world. They call the program 3MTT. This is a program that they're training ordinary people. You have no knowledge, no skills before. They train you to be able to use technology, to be able to engage into AI and all kind of technological system, and be able to be marketable, be able to get employable in the world. Those are kind of policies that can help. They also introduce things like the school fees loan that they also introduce, such that a poor Nigerian can go to university, can get education. Because if you look at the major component of poverty, what are the things that are really constitute what we refer to as poverty? If you don't have shelter, you don't have education, there's no food and stuff like that. So a normal Nigerian can take a loan from the government and use to sponsor his university education. Those are the policies that have been implemented. But it takes us back to the initial conversation that we had before, is that we still need transparency. They need to talk more. This money that they said they gave to people, where are the people that the money was given to? Where are they? Where are they located? If the people that work for this government or the government itself communicates more, Nigerians will see and they will understand. But because of the gap of communication, that is why we are still, a lot of people don't really know what is going on. So that's my response to that.
Well, we'd like to thank you so much for your response and for coming to have this conversation with us today. Shitu Adedayo, Business Development Manager for AHZ. Thank you so much.
Thank you.